Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Tyrese Haliburton voted the most overrated player in the league. The Pacers don't care. They're up 2-0 against the Bucks. Also, the Lakers needed to get a win at home before heading to Minnesota. And when it comes to draft trades, the question is, who are the teams trading up in this draft? Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Milwaukee Bucks got Damian Lillard back for Game 2. Tyrese Haliburton voted most overrated player in an athletic player survey. None of it mattered. By the way, in Game 2, the Pacers get a 123-115 victory to take a 2-0 lead over the Bucks. Tony East in the arena in Indianapolis after this one. And Tony, it was more of the same, really, in this series, and more of the same of what we've seen over the last 2 years with these two teams. Just too much for the Milwaukee Bucks. What was the key here in Game 2?
I wondered if this series would look different, obviously, with Giannis available compared to last year. The Bucks had more success against the Pacers in regular season this year, but through 2 games, the key's been simple for the Pacers. They can get whatever shot they want every single trip down the floor. The only time they don't is self-inflicted. They say it after every game. Yeah, we got too slow. We settled for some jumpers. The Bucks creep back in, and they go, oh, yeah, all you got to do is this, and we score. And then they do it twice in a row, and then they're up 8, and they win the game. Like, it has been borderline comical to me at times how easy it is for the Pacers to get the Bucks in rotation and get the shots they want. And I don't think the Bucks defense is bad. It finished above average this season, but the Pacers have just put so much stress on them. And it's not just one guy, right? Obviously, their stars were good in this game. Haliburton and Siakam both over 20 points. Every Pacers starter with 15 points plus. Benedict Mathurin had 14 too. Like, their balance is so good because their style is just stressing the Bucks out so much. They can't stop them.
Yeah, and I think that was indicative. You look in the first half, there were times in the first quarter, late in the first quarter, not just like the first 2 minutes, the Pacers are shooting 70% from the field. And it's not some unsustainable, hey, they're making every crazy shot they look at. It's they can get, to your point, whatever they want. Just 8 turnovers in this game. The Bucks doubled them up in turnovers with 16. And it just felt like wherever they want to get on the floor, they can get. And whenever they want to get the Bucks in rotation, they can get them. If you're Indiana, anything here where you go, okay, the Bucks, Giannis, Dame, they get Dame back. Dame, of course, doesn't make any shots the whole game, and that doesn't help either. But it really felt like the problems for the Bucks are intractable defensively as they look at the way that these matchups shake out here.
I agree. It's been interesting that, like, I wondered how they would change their lineup if at all this game with Dame returning. Dame is very good. Dame is much better than Ryan Rollins. I mean, nothing I'm about to say that the Bucks aren't better with him playing, but he's not solving their biggest issue in this series, especially when he's giving you 11 points as the Bucks. And late in the game, Dame's really good. He's drawn attention in whatever corner he's in, but Giannis is the guy taking up the floor. He's the guy trying to get to the rim and set stuff up. You know, that's what the Bucks should do. They're playing how they should. They got their star back, but if he's not adding a ton on defense, and he's what did he finish 4 for 13? I don't think he scored in the second half till there were 3 minutes left in the game. And it was a huge three.
It didn't matter at that point.
I don't want to belittle that shot. It was a big three, but you know, if he's that quiet, it's just, he is so fine to have a poor game after not playing for 4 weeks with like the scariest injury in sports. Like, no one should belittle his performance. It's good that he played. It's good that he's going to live, but he didn't help the Bucks enough in this game, enough to change the fortunes of the game at all. Like, he's better than Rollins, but not at the stuff the Bucks needed him to be better than Rollins at. And it wasn't a big enough gap at all today. And so, yes, he's very good. The Pacers have talked about their prep for the series with Dame playing. There's 2 monstrous Bucks players. It's going to be tough to beat them, but Giannis has been awesome. Dame literally didn't play in the first game and gave him not enough today. And the Bucks, I think, have to change their lineup beyond what they did today to keep up.
How do you see a lineup change affecting this series, if at all? Like, what is the move if you're Milwaukee?
They need a shooter in the starting 5. To me, I mean, Taurean Prince had a nice game with 2 out of 3 today. Kuzma goes over 3. It's not even that those guys are awful shooters. It's just a volume thing. Trent and AJ Green can get them up, and they actually, like, make a defense stink or panic or react to something, right? AJ Green hit 5 threes, I think, in game 1 of the series. Gary Trent's been great against the Pacers.
12 minutes in this game, though. That's the crazy part, Tony. Is if you're a Bucks fan, you're going, please play AJ Green. He gets 12 minutes and just 2 shots in this game. That's not enough.
I know. I thought that was an interesting shift. It was just Lillard for Rollins. Like, you'd think that the good shooters, and you know this, but like the Bucks' best lineup for forever has been Giannis, Kevin Porter Jr., and 3 shooters, right? Like, clearly that was with Dame out, but still, there's clearly a formula that they know exists. I know the Bucks know it's their best lineup because Doc closes with it like every game. Like, they know the minutes always showed, usually not today, show the bench guys playing more for the Bucks. Gary Trent, 29.5 minutes. Bobby Portis, 31, whereas Brook Lopez and Prince are below 20. Like, they know. Right. So it's got to be a shoot. Portis couldn't miss today. That might not happen again in this series, but Gary Trent's been way better than Taurean Prince in this series. I would start there. He's a better defender too, or at least has been. At least Prince has some size, and maybe they do just go Portis instead of Lopez. I thought Lopez would be better than Portis in this series, given some of the Pacers' weaknesses. I was totally wrong. Maybe they do both of those things and just get your best players on the floor more, man. Like, Bobby Portis was awesome today, and he's just, can they get him to 35 minutes? Is he able to do that? They should try.
You can stay up to date all year on the Indiana Pacers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Pacers on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Lakers needed a win at home before heading to Minnesota. Before we get to that, OKC looked to keep rolling. The NBA playoffs roll on, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. When you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. I love how FanDuel makes it easy. Whether it's picking my favorite team or diving into player props, from 3-pointers to steals to assists, there are so many ways to bet your favorite player props, to bet your side, whatever you want. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine a live same-game prop bet to get a same-game parlay going, to chance to win big. After game 1, everyone is sure the Cavs are for real. Well, you probably were sure before that. FanDuel is no exception. FanDuel has the Cavaliers favored by 12 over the Heat in game 2. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. The Thunder are making short work of the Grizzlies.
Is there such a thing as a competitive blowout loss? I'm asking for some friends. They didn't lose by 51. That's a positive, but the Grizzlies still lose by a sizable margin at the hands of the clearly better Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm Joe Mullinax of Locked On Grizzlies, and you can't convince me otherwise. I saw it with my own eyes. Memphis was within 6 in the third quarter, and you could almost sense a little bit of concern from those in OKC. And then the Thunder remembered that they are the superior team with better talent and depth, and to be honest with you, better defensive effort and offensive energy, and they just dominated the Grizzlies to close the contest. Jaren Jackson Jr. had a better showing, especially in the second half. Jaren Jackson Jr. continues to struggle passing out of double teams. The Thunder are the team that is playing with a hunger and a desperation to show that they are truly the best team in the NBA. Memphis has been unable to match that for a full 48 minutes to this point in the series.
On the playoff ice, the Panthers got Matthew Tkachuk back as they look to even their series with the Lightning.
Panthers returned mostly a healthy lineup, and they put out a statement win against Tampa Bay. What is up, guys? Armando Velez here from the Locked On Florida Panthers podcast, here from Amalie Arena, as the Panthers defeat the Bolts by a final score of 6-2 in game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And the key of this one was the fact that they got in Andrei Vasilevsky's kitchen often, and really 5 of their 6 goals came from below the circle, and the Panthers just really started to wreak havoc over and over again, including 3 goals on 3 consecutive shots in the second period. And the game changer was a failed challenge by the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Panthers converting on the power play 14 seconds later, thanks to Matthew Tkachuk. He, along with Nate Schmidt, got a 2-goal game. The Panthers were rolling the 4 lines for them. The Panthers were able to consistently put the pressure on Tampa Bay. We're going to break all this down on tomorrow's Locked On Florida Panthers podcast.
On the diamond, the Cubs and Dodgers had a good old-fashioned slugfest.
Call your friends, call your family, call whoever, and make sure they're ready to go this summer at Wrigley Field, because it might be a special, special season. Cubs come back from down 3 late again. This time they beat the Los Angeles Dodgers in walk-off fashion. I'm Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs. It was a back-and-forth game. Cubs made some tough errors, gave up some home run balls, but they kept fighting. They kept battling. Kyle Tucker, huge day. PCA, huge day. Ian Happ, huge day. And down to their final out off their potential target, Tanner Scott, Miguel Amaya ties the game with a dramatic home run in the basket to tie it at 10. Porter Hodge bounces back from his shaky outing on Friday, gets the job done, posts a 0 in the 10th inning, and then reliable Ian Happ delivers a base hit through the right side, and the Cubs beat the Dodgers 11-10 and walk them off. This team, they take you on a roller coaster, but they are fighting and they are special. Hop along for the ride. It's going to be a heck of a summer.
Could the Lakers actually leave LA down 0-2? Our Locked On host detail a momentous Game 2 before the series shifts to Minnesota.
Look, I mean, this was kind of a do or die game for the Lakers. There's no way around it. You do not want to go back to Minnesota down 2 and needing to win 4 or 5, 3 of which would have had to come on the road. The Lakers got it done, certainly led by Luka, 31-12 and 9. The offense, I want to talk about the offense, it's a little bit tonight and over the course of the week. But it was a struggle, but it was a better kind of struggle for the Lakers, certainly than in Game 1. But they won this game, Andy, with the requisite effort and intensity that JJ Redick and the team has been talking about since that Game 1 loss.
I think in particular, it was a half of a struggle, like the second half offensively, whether you want to consider it a struggle in terms of putting up points or a struggle to maintain the discipline of what they were doing in the first half.
Yeah,
and
I think
we can talk about that. But the defense was spectacular throughout this entire game. I mean, there were very few possessions over the course of 48 minutes where, forget whether Minnesota scored or didn't score, but just in terms of the defense that was being played, where I was like, what are you doing? Or pay attention, or what? Like, there were very few times where I was dissatisfied by what happened defensively. Like, I may have been, pissed that Minnesota got a basket or whatever, but as far as the effort and the intensity and just the desire defensively, and then we had talked about this all week leading up to this game, that not a narrative, it's accurate, like that talking point to a man that Minnesota was far more physical, that they dictated the terms and tone of Game 1. The Lakers needed to match it. It was like the Lakers switched from decaf before Game 1 to cocaine before Game 2, just because they were animated and edgy in a way that was just night and day different. Also, to be clear, it was not cocaine. Just in case anybody from the league is listening. No, I don't want a drug test. It was not cocaine.
All right. I mean, you had a scoop there for a second, but I guess if you want to leave that,
it's not the type of scoop that I want.
No,
I want to pop the Wolves for doing a bunch of blow. That's fine, but no, I want to make it clear.
It's just and it wasn't just the defensive intensity that they brought in the first quarter, to build this large lead that they basically spent the rest of the game, protecting, and it makes a huge difference to play from ahead, like legitimately well and rightly ahead in a game, not like they were at the end of the first quarter in Game 1, where all of a sudden you blink 3 minutes into the second quarter and it's gone. The Lakers sustained this lead until, got a little, they're a little nervous there sort of near the end, but it never got below 9, I don't think. And throughout most of the game, anytime Minnesota got it to within 11, 12, something like that, the Lakers made a push and got it out back up to 15, 16, 17. And that's really where the game lived for most of it. But it was everything. We talked about it, it's matching them physically on the defensive side of the ball, but it's also move faster, get into your offense faster. If you have a miss from Minnesota, get up the floor. Like there were 3 or 4 plays early in that game where you're just like, well, that didn't happen in game one. You know, long passes, getting out on the break, urgency to get into an offense in the half court. They just moved with so much purpose on both sides of the ball.
Stay up to date all year on the LA Lakers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Lakers on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, the problem with a draft trade isn't who's willing to move back. It's which player is worth trading up to get. The Browns and Giants are reportedly listening to trade offers for their picks in the first round at 2 and 3 overall. As Brian Peacock and Matt Williamson discuss on a recent Peacock and Williamson, the problem is which prospects are teams trading up to get?
I think the top 3 are set, and I think the Patriots would do anything possible to get out.
Right.
Don't you?
Yeah, so the Patriots is 4. They're the most obvious, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason the Patriots would get an offer for a team to move up is probably because a quarterback goes in the top 3 to shake things up. And then the Patriots say, oh, never mind. We don't want to move out now because now we get Hunter or Abdul Carter. And they would probably say, never mind. But maybe they would still look at this and be like, you know what? We would love Abdul Carter at 4. He's here, but the Bears are calling. And man, we could really get a lot and restock this thing. Or the Panthers are calling. We can move back and stay in the top 10 and still get an offensive lineman, which is what we should do, and kind of take our medicine and build this thing with a new regime and get future draft picks. So maybe that would still spur it, but it would cost more, and it would be a much better situation for the Patriots to be like, oh, cool. Now teams are finally calling us, and we have the option of drafting a guy we really like and have a huge grade on, maybe the top grade in the draft at pick 4. So that would be the scenario to spark the first trade, in my opinion, if a quarterback goes top 3.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time writing a story where a team needs to get to 4, 5, 6, 7, assuming Ward, Hunter, and Carter are gone. You know, I think you have to stick and pick. No one's going to be calling you. And
if we're reading the tea leaves, a team's not calling and moving up probably for Shedeur Sanders.
Not that early, I don't think. If the Browns or Giants are coming from the second round, I don't think you're going to give up a future first, second, and a lot more.
Yeah, and they're probably not coming all the way to 4. They would need Sanders to fall a little bit, at least to 8 or so.
That's what I was going to say. I think right around the Saints is when it gets interesting.
Right, and I think
maybe you get ahead of them, or they take Dart, and then all of a sudden Sanders is the only guy left, and now I got to start scrambling. The Saints, I think, is when it gets interesting.
I would look at this a different way. If there aren't a bunch of players worth trading up to grab, and we believe that the meat of this draft is from pick 25 through 45, then teams are going to be willing to move down and could be willing to take less to move down because they don't think, hey, if I'm picking at 21, if I'm picking at 26, if I'm picking at 30, the difference between the player I'm going to get here and in 5, 6, 8, 10 spots, marginal. So you don't have to give me that much to move down. Give me something. Give me anything. And I can move back. I think it's possible that we get a crazy round 1, especially late round 1, because there's going to be players wanting to move back in for quarterbacks, or these last group of receivers, or the last few offensive linemen. There are cliffs in every draft where you go, if I don't get a player by position X, I'm not going to get an impact player. Though that number for all of the positions is in the 40s, which means you got to get those guys right now, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So that could lead to teams going, hey, if I can we do this for a 4th round pick? Let's swap 3rd round picks too. If the price is cheap, that incentivizes teams to want to move up. And that's what I think we're going to see happening in this draft. And finally, Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjork seems to be alluding to the fact that student life is too inconvenient for athletic life when he spoke with the College Football Playoff Commission on Tuesday. Bjork told the commissioners about how the school had to apply for waivers around the countable athletically related activities. CARA is the acronym, which limits schools to 20 hours of practice time while classes are in session. Some players missed class as they prepared for the national title. Is student athlete, are we just not doing that anymore? These are athletes getting paid. They're professional athletes in a lot of ways. Amateurism is close to death. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, we'll get you set for round 1 of the NFL draft. So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.